Hey everybody, I'm Lonnie,
I'm Mark.
and we're Entitled Nerd Network. This is Mark's first time back since before COVID.
Yep.
God. So yeah, it's been like a good 5 years at this point. We did a show called Comic Book Malarkey for a long while, and I've kind of been telling everybody that this is kind of our soft kickoff for our 10-year anniversary.
Sweet.
May 4th is 10 years of UNN, and we're about halfway through November at this point. But,
So our anniversary is Star Wars Day?
it is
Sweet.
completely unintentional. I did not mean for that to happen. It just so happened that the first day everybody was able to get together for like the first UNN event, which at the time was Entitled Nerd Podcast,
Right.
was May 4th. And it just worked out that way. But I don't think this is going to be a comic book malarkey episode per se, kind of like just a catch up, because we're going to be talking about mostly non-comic stuff, because I haven't read a new comic book in over 2 years at this point.
I've been rereading old stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have been too. The only comic book on my pull list right now is The Walking Dead Deluxe.
Of course.
And that's because I want a full run of The Walking Dead. And I started collecting about issue like maybe 111
Right.
in the original series. So I've got like 111 through, I think it was 193 where it ended. And I've got The Walking Dead Deluxe 1 through 96 right now. And I think 100 just came out last week.
Oh, sweet.
So I'm eventually going to have a full set. Of course, I can't stop at 111. I've got to get the full color series all the way through. So I'm going to have 2 and 3 of a bunch because they released a bunch of variant covers and stuff.
Grant has the entire graphic novel set.
Oh, like the smaller ones or the big compendiums?
The big compendiums.
Yeah, I used to have those, and I was like, yeah, I didn't like the experience because I like reading the letters pages at the end, and they don't include the letter pages in the compendiums.
Oh, man.
But The Walking Dead is a fantastic comic series from start to finish. I mean, there's a couple of little dull areas here and there, but overall, it's one of the best start to finish 100+ issue series out there. Like, it really is. It's fantastic.
And his other one, Invincible, is pretty good.
I've seen the first episode of the TV show, but have never read the comic or watched the rest of it.
Read the comics.
Okay.
Read the comics. It's the same guy that did Walking Dead, and it's a little bit more graphic and gory superhero than even. It's right up there with Homelander, brain fart. It's right up there with
The Boys.
Yeah, The Boys. As far as like like graphic and gore and stuff. I mean, like, and kind of that gritty realism and superhero-ishness.
I kind of got that vibe from like the very end of the first episode. Because what's his name? Omni-Man?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen this in the last 3 or 4 years. Yeah, Omni-Man like completely wipes out the entire team in like bloody fashion. And I was like, whoa, I really wasn't expecting that.
Oh,
like, you knew something was off during the episode, but I had no clue. That really did catch me by surprise. Made me want to continue watching the series, and then I think we got sidetracked with something else and just never picked it back up. But we are completely caught up with The Boys. Haven't really watched any of the Walking Dead spin-off shows.
I watched like the first episode of the Daryl Dixon one.
Amber and I we finished the series, and then we watched the first episode or 2 of the Rick and Michonne series.
Okay. And
Amber just wasn't feeling it. Like, it just wasn't the same. So, I don't know. Like, I worry that The Walking Dead is over-expanding. Like, maybe it should have just ended with the series, or at the very least, like, maybe not 3 or 4 different series, because I mean, yeah, we want to see where everybody ends up, but God, that's going to end up turning into so much work.
Yep.
And then you've got Fear the Walking Dead, and there's some characters over there that were super important to the Rick and Michonne show. And there's just a lot of homework. And now I know how some of the MCU people feel that were late adopters.
I kind of got... Grant loved The Walking Dead, and he's the one that got me into watching it. But I just kind of got fed up with the constant repetitive cycle of okay, the zombies are after us. Okay, we're safe from the zombies. Now humans are trying to kill us. Okay, we're safe from the humans. Now zombies are trying to kill us. Okay, now we're safe from the zombies. Now humans are trying to kill us.
Dressed up as zombies.
Yeah. And now there's humans dressed as zombies. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, it's this repetitive cycle of, okay, like... And personally, also watching the series, I kept wondering who the hell was cutting the yards. Because there was no overgrowth. Like, the grass would have been, like, yay high.
That's a very valid point. That was one of those things, like, people were asking back during season 2. And I was just like, I mean, yeah, you have to suspend disbelief quite a bit on some of that stuff. But actually, you know, since the last time you and I have talked, at least on the channel, we've had quite a bit happen as far as the MCU. I don't think you and I have done a show since before Endgame.
I think you're right. No, wait. Endgame came out before COVID, I think.
Right before COVID.
Because everybody saw it in the theaters.
It was 2019.
Yeah.
And then it came out like on digital that fall, and then COVID happened the next, like, February, March.
And everybody was watching Hamilton on Disney Plus.
Except for me.
Oh, dude, you're missing something awesome.
I've never seen Hamilton. Dude. I'm not a musical fan. I hate musicals. I hate musicals.
Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of Marvel to cover, although I'm starting to think Agatha All Along has been their best series yet.
Oh, yeah, I said that. Actually, after the first episode, I was like, you know what? This is the best first episode of a Marvel show that I've seen on Disney Plus. So, and it continued. Like, it never got bad. We never had a filler episode. It progressed steadily. Had a lot of action. I'm about to have to move Wolverine. I keep hitting him.
And you were the one that said we shouldn't acknowledge him.
Well, he keeps rolling around everywhere. I can't help it. I would say so far, Agatha All Along is the best TV show of the post-Endgame era. And I would say probably the best movie is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I love Deadpool and Wolverine, don't get me wrong, but it is a very close second to Guardians 3.
I don't know. I like the Marvels. Just because I like the girl that they've got playing Miss Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
She's fantastic. And she is, like, up on her lore. Like, she's got a notebook that she keeps with her. Have you ever watched any interviews with her?
No.
She's got a notebook that she keeps with her about Captain Marvel lore and Miss Marvel lore, and, like, knows all about her. She's actually now writing a comic book series for Marvel.
I have heard that.
Yeah. And, like, she's got this notebook that apparently her and not Favreau, but the guy that's in charge of the Marvel stuff, Feige.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige, like, had sat down and she's got notes in it, and she's like, I can't show this notebook to anybody because spoilers.
It's funny, I was sitting around, because, you know, I'm horrible about putting two and two together about who, like, oh, this person also played in this movie. Like, there's movies from back in the 80s and 90s that I've seen a million times, but I haven't seen since I started watching Marvel.
Right.
And so then I'll go back and watch an old 80s movie and be like, oh my God, that's a young version of... Jon Favreau was Rudy's buddy in college in the movie Rudy, and I didn't realize that until about 2 weeks ago.
He was also Foggy Nelson in Daredevil.
Well, yeah, I knew that part.
But I mean, I mean, he's been in a bunch of stuff that you're just like, oh, hey, wait.
He had like a 2-episode cameo stint in The Sopranos as well as himself.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah,
I didn't watch The Sopranos, so I didn't know.
Tony, the main character, his nephew Christopher, like, decides he wants to get into making Hollywood movies and stuff, and he just so happens to know somebody who knows Jon Favreau, and yeah, Favreau shows up and gets in really over his head because he realizes this is all like legit stuff, and it kind of goes crazy. It's funny seeing that.
Well, that probably plays off of. Have you seen The Offering?
No.
Or The Offer on Paramount?
Mm-mm.
Dude, if you go back and watch The Offer, it's the story about how The Godfather was made.
Oh, I've heard of that. Then,
and how they've got they had perfect example, the guy that comes in and asks the Godfather for a favor.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
Like he's a real mob guy.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because one of the stipulations was like if for the mob to like let them do a mob movie is they had to make it where it's not a crime movie, it's a family story.
Okay.
And then the mob and the Teamsters did all the labor behind the scenes, and some of the people from the family had to be in the movie. And so there's this scene where it's the outside of the of the wedding, where you can see the the big heavyset guy, and he's sitting there and he's got that piece of paper where he's trying to rehearse what he's going to say to the Godfather.
That was Luca Brasi.
Yeah, that's an actual mob guy trying to memorize his lines on set.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research into the
Watch
Godfather.
The Offer.
Yeah.
If you're a Godfather fan, watch The Offer.
Okay. So the Marvels is your favorite post MC or post Endgame?
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was good. I'll give you that.
I mean, I like the Marvels. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of content. And here's the thing. I enjoyed watching every bit of Marvel content post Endgame. To me, there was nothing inherently bad, but there was some stuff that was better than other stuff.
Right.
And, I'm one of the few people who absolutely love She-Hulk.
Oh, God, yes.
I love She-Hulk. And
why we're not getting a second seasons of that is...
It's a travesty. It really is. I love She-Hulk.
Maybe she was cut from Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh.
Yep. Tatiana Maslany, I'm going to mispronounce her name, but the lady that played She-Hulk, said there was a scene, they filmed it, Ryan Reynolds cut it.
Huh. Okay. Well, crap.
I would like to see what that scene was, because I'm fairly certain it was both her and Deadpool talking and breaking the fourth wall at the same time.
So, what are you looking forward to most next year? Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, or Daredevil?
God, all three of those. Okay. Harrison Ford as Red Hulk is going to be awesome.
Yep.
But I'm a diehard Daredevil boy. I mean,
it's going to be 18 episodes, man.
If Daredevil Reborn is anywhere as good as the original Netflix series, it's going to be the best thing next year.
Well, it's going to be...
Oh, and they've already renewed it for a second season.
Already?
Yep. They've already renewed it for a second season. There's
still 4 or 5 months from even releasing it. When does it come out? March or May?
May. Comes out in May.
I knew it was one of the M months.
Yeah, and then April, I think, is Brave New World.
No, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day, that's right.
And then Thunderbolts comes out in May. I'm pretty sure.
That's what it is.
And
Thunderbolts looks interesting too, but I'm already turned off by Thunderbolts because they're going to put Sentry in it.
Have you?
And Sentry
he's Bob.
is one of the stupidest characters Marvel has ever come out with in the past 20 years.
He's basically a bipolar Superman.
Basically.
Yeah. you may or may not know this, but for the people at home watching, Sentry was the start of the Marvel Zombies virus.
Right, because only he could be blamed for that travesty too.
Yeah. No, I think the deal was the Avengers responded to this fireball that crashed in downtown Manhattan. Whoever it was there bit somebody, and then somebody else got bit, and then it just spread like a regular zombie virus. But I think the whole thing behind that was like towards the very end of the series, the Marvel Zombie series. This is after like years of storytelling. Sentry got infected and they sent him back in time, and so the whole Marvel Zombies thing became like one big time loop. Sentry gets sent back, infects, and then Sentry gets sent back. It's just one of those. So, but anyway, so you're thinking Daredevil's your big
Daredevil. I'm diehard Daredevil, especially considering the fact that they've already announced that Jessica Jones is going to be in it, Luke Cage is returning in it, Punisher's returning in it. Like basically everybody that was in all of the old Netflix stuff, with the exception of Iron Fist, I think has been confirmed as being in it.
Have you seen the new trailers that just came out? I think yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both amazing, and it's really hard for me to pick one. I'm gonna say Daredevil, just because I think it's gonna be fantastic, and it's gonna give us more content. We're gonna have 18 episodes of that spread out through probably 3 or 4 months that we're gonna have like weekly Daredevil. And then movies on top of that. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So let's move on to the...
the elephant in the room?
Yeah. This is funny because when we originally were going to get together for this little like reunion deal, we were going to do it last Monday,
the day before,
and
it
would have been a completely different tone because we were hopeful at that point.
We had hope.
And anybody who has followed Untitled Nerd Network for any amount of time at all will know that we, like the whole group, everybody who is or just about ever has been an admin on the page is like hardcore liberal. We endorsed Kamala Harris this election season, and then it all went to shit a week ago tomorrow.
Dude, so okay, and then here's the funniest part for me, because like I'm pretty active on TikTok, and the conspiracy theories that are going around like crazy right now, like, is the same stuff that we laughed at Trump supporters for 4 years ago, because people are coming out going, there's something going on. If you watch Kamala's speech, there were some subtle undertones in her speech, and she's a prosecutor, and Donald Trump did something illegal. Because so it all stems from the fact that Joe Rogan went on and he said that, of course this is all secondhand information, so Joe Rogan said that somebody in the Trump camp told him that Elon Musk had an app, and that 4 to 5 hours before the polls had even closed, Elon was like, okay, it's over, I'm going home, Trump won. And then they're like, and then they raided this guy's house down in Florida, which I can't find any connection between that guy in Florida and Trump at all. But like, they raided his house and his business and all that, and they're like, there's some connection there. Kamala's building her big case, and she's going to announce it before January 20th. And I'm like, you people sound as crazy and as insane as Mike Lindell and Trump did 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, I get it. I understand. But at the same time, unless you have proof of all this stuff, stop spreading it. It's just insane. And then, like, AOC made a post today, and everybody's like, did y'all see AOC's post today? Something's coming. And I'm like, all she said was, be proactive in your community, and, build your community and your support group, and, like, make sure that you're being active in your local elections and active in your, she didn't say, oh, we've got some big, super secret thing. But everybody's just losing their mind. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to hunker down for the next 4 years. He can't run again.
Right now he can't.
Hey, if he gets rid of the 22nd Amendment, Obama's going to step up. like he'll be like, we're getting rid of the 22nd Amendment, and Obama's going to be like, you call, and it's just going to be over.
I'll go ahead and say we have a lot of people in our audience who are literally distraught, depressed. Hell, there's some people who are suicidal over this. Like, might not go through with it, but have thought about it. I think things are going to be rough, but I don't think things are going to be any worse than they were the last time. I think we will recover from this.
I don't know.
I don't either,
because as of right now, he has the Senate,
and he's gonna have the House.
I don't know. There's still. Hold on. Let me look it up. The Associated Press. Currently, we have 203 seats in the House.
They have 212.
They have 214.
Oh.
There are still 18 seats left to be called. But the majority of those are leaning Republican. There's 1, 2. So you need 218 for a majority in the House.
So it's looking very much like the uncounted states for
2.
Harris.
Hang on a second. Oh, no. All the states are in now for the presidential. 3, 4. So far, there's only 4 seats leaning Democratic.
Yeah, I'm not even hopeful about that.
So if he's got the House, the Senate,
and the
Supreme Court, it's going to be uglier than it was 4 years ago because he's not going to have any guardrails. There's not going to be anything to stop him from doing his whole dictator on day one thing.
Well, I mean, the only thing that he was missing in 2016 was the courts.
He didn't have the House either.
He didn't?
No. I thought Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House, remember?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So the Democrats had control of the House, which, that pretty much puts a stop on you spending money on anything because the House controls the purse strings. But, I mean, if he's got the House, the Senate, and the judiciary, I mean, the Supreme Court's already said he can commit a crime and he can't be held liable for it.
Yeah.
That's
pretty messed up. Like, I don't know, man. I really don't know where we're headed. I'm hopeful that the country at least survives the next 4 years, but only time will tell. And here's the thing. This is what I've been telling everybody. Don't worry about it. Because there is literally nothing that you and I can do at this point to stop what has already been done. Like, we're basically just going to have to buckle up and hope the roller coaster doesn't kill us. So,
yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying not to worry too much because if I let it have a lot of real estate in my mind, I think I'd really go crazy. So I'm just like,
either that or just barrel down into a depression. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same boat as you. The only thing I have to say is, and I made this statement on my TikTok account, but I'm gonna kind of sort of make it here. There's been this whole thing about, well, let's wear blue bracelets so that we can tell everybody that we're, that we voted for Kamala and that we're safe. And I'm like, okay, y'all are kind of marketing this like it's a secret handshake, But if you're telling everybody in the world what the secret handshake is, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna see some guy wearing a blue bracelet, and you're gonna be, you're gonna be a woman that thinking he's a safe guy, and turns out he's a Nick Fuentes fun boy, and because he's wearing a blue bracelet because he knows the secret handshake because it's been all over the internet. So, if there's going to be a secret handshake, secret.
It needs to be secret enough that like you and I don't know about it.
Yeah. I do love the fact that Nick is afraid because they released his address. However, to whoever released his address, it was very irresponsible of you to not include the information on the parking situation around the house, because I'm fairly certain right now there's a whole bunch of... Apparently he pepper sprayed some woman today.
I kid you not, man. I got on...
Because he was scared.
I got on, when that news first broke, somebody actually did it in the comments of one of our post a day or two ago.
Yeah.
And they posted the address, so I got on Google and just typed in the number and the street name,
And it popped.
and it like popped right up, and there was a direct. It was like the second or third result was a direct link to like the county's tax division or whatever. Showed how much the house was worth, the name, his name
Yep.
of the person that bought it, and I was like, oh, I mean, technically, yeah, they're doxing this guy, but every bit of this info was already public record.
Yeah, but I don't think
they made it easier.
Yeah, they made it easier, and and I love the fact that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not for violence of any kind, like, you know, but the fact that he is now scared is what every woman who saw what he said is feeling right now.
Yeah, good for
So
him.
it's karma.
And like, I'm not. It's like what I've been telling everybody. Like, I actually made a post or a comment in one of our recent, where I basically said, hey, you know, I'm not for violence, but if a guy comes up to you wearing a shirt that says "Your body, my choice," or
That works both ways.
or if he says that to you, I was like, I'll wholeheartedly encourage you to punch his teeth out through his asshole.
Oh yeah.
So
If some guy says that to a woman within earshot of me, I'm gonna need you to come bail me out because he's catching hands and I'm catching a charge.
yeah. Well, here's the thing, dude. All of this stuff is online rhetoric. Aside from some of the little protests and some of the little racist demonstrations and stuff that they do, 99% of toxic bullshit in this country is limited to online interactions.
Except there are boys going up to girls in schools saying that bullshit.
And that's due to them being empowered by online
The fact that we elected,
influencers.
the fact that the country elected a racist rapist.
Yeah. And I think really the online, the podcast, the Joe Rogans, the Tucker Carlsons, you know, all of those assholes who don't understand consent, boundaries, all that. Like if you look on Spotify's top podcasts, like 4 of the top 5, including like I think the first 3, are hardcore conservative fuckboy podcasts. And
Yep.
that's what's popular right now. And like,
That's sad.
people are entertained more by outrage than, and I don't know, man. I really don't get it. I feel like we on the left have put all of this effort in, and it's almost like we're doing it with a shovel and they're doing it with like a big industrial excavator. Like it feels like that's what we're fighting against, and like you just can't win at that point. It's difficult.
Well, a lot of it this year comes from, and I don't know why. There's a lot of theories floating around out there as to why, but a lot of it comes from, if you look at the Democratic vote from 2020 and the Democratic vote from this year, we lost a couple of million people.
We lost like 15 million.
Yeah, like 50, like, and
That was a lot.
The fact that the fact that Trump is the first Republican to win the popular vote since Reagan,
Yeah.
blows my mind. You know, I don't.
There's not a lot you can say to it because it's difficult. Like, truly am having a hard time. And I've tried to see things from the other point of view just to understand it. But I can't. Like, I don't see where somebody can just be so nonchalant. I kind of get the abortion thing because I was raised in the church as a
Right.
kid. And so for a while, I was anti-abortion until I realized it's a necessary medical procedure. And here's the thing, you know, a lot of what the right does is they base their policies on the worst case scenario horror stories that could ever happen.
Right.
And they rarely ever come to fruition.
Well, for example, the whole point about like, oh, you know, you're having late term abortions, you're having abortions in the third trimester. Okay, so just as a thing, if someone has carried a child to the third trimester, they've picked out a name, they've decorated a bedroom, they've picked out clothes, and the only reason they are having that done in the third trimester is because either A, the baby is going to come out
medically
complicated, or B, it's going to kill the mother to have the baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, somebody doesn't just wait till month 7.
Somebody doesn't wait, yeah. And then, you know, so they go out there and they're like, oh, they're having late-term abortions. And, yes, they happen, but by that point in time, you're emotionally invested in that child. You're emotionally invested in that, in what's growing in you. Second off, as a man, I don't think I should have a say in anything about abortion.
Yeah.
I believe that it is, you know, woman's body, woman's choice. And if anybody ever comes to me and says, what do you think about abortion? I will never have a kid. I don't know. I will never get pregnant. I have no say.
Yeah. I mean, I get that.
But, and then the other thing, going back to what you're talking about, they base it, not only do they base it on the worst case scenario, they base it on a religious foundation.
Yeah.
You know, God is against murder. You haven't read your Bible.
Yeah.
The book of Numbers has a specific chapter that gives explicit instructions on how a priest of God can perform an abortion. Now, mind you, the circumstances of that are if the man thinks that his woman has cheated on him and that the baby is not his, he can take the woman to the priest, and the priest will make her drink this bitter water, and if she has been unfaithful, she will miscarry the child.
That sounds almost like some Salem witch trial bullshit.
Yeah, it is. But that's in the Bible. And
yeah.
then to say that God is against killing little babies, every time that the Israelite army marched into a city, God said, rip the babies from the womb and bash them against the rocks. God is very pro killing babies.
Even like before that, you know, when they were like in bondage in Egypt, like God was the master of the post-birth abortion because he wiped out every firstborn in Egypt.
Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, there's a little bit of hypocrisy going on there.
Well,
where
it goes back to religion should not be involved in politics.
Yeah.
Just because your belief, you are more than willing to base your own morals on your religious beliefs, but you cannot base my morals on your religious beliefs.
Yeah.
And you can't control my actions with your religious beliefs.
The biggest thing that I have an issue with right now is just the pure hypocrisy. Like, yeah, you're the moral
family values,
the moral family values standard for the country, but you nominated and elected Donald Trump. It doesn't make an ounce of sense at all. He's one of the most morally bankrupt people in the country, leading what is supposed to be the moral majority, basically. But also, like, not only do they have that, but you've got your... It's funny because I was like, not all Republicans are racist, but pretty much all racists are Republicans.
Yeah.
It's like the Family Guy joke. It had the Fox News helicopter, and it was like, not racist, but number one with racist. And that's those kind of people have gravitated into the Republican Party. That they've been part of it for a very long time now. But we're seeing those people who are claiming to be the upright moral standard, but that's where you have your racists, your people who don't take no for an answer with women. It's difficult to take them seriously when they have those types of, like, personalities.
Yep. And always remember, if your party is the party that has people who are carrying Klan flags and Nazi flags, and Confederate flags, you are not an American patriot.
Yeah.
I mean, to carry a Confederate flag, yes, I am carrying the flag of a country that attacked the United States of America.
Yeah, and probably the best meme that I have seen in really years. I saw just a couple of days ago, and it said if you're at a rally or a big event and there are Nazi or Klan flags or Confederate flags flying, and that person isn't getting punched out, congratulations, you're at a Klan rally.
Yeah.
You know?
Pretty much.
So, yeah, that's the thing. It probably wouldn't be that huge of a deal if somebody on that side would speak out against it. And nobody's got the balls to do it because they're all in it together.
And then the deflection, there was a video I saw yesterday where, they, and it was odd because he was on Fox News, but Jim Jordan, the news broadcaster was like, so how are these mass deportations going to happen? And all he kept going back to was how many, the number of people that are in the country illegally, and she kept asking him, yes, but how are you going to do it? Is it going to be the police? Is it going to be ICE? Is it going to be the military? And he never once answered that question.
No.
Like, he just kept deflecting it. And I'm like, you know what? At least have the balls to say you're going to deploy the military on United States soil. Oh, God. Did you hear? Did you hear about this guy in Texas named Angel Rodriguez?
No.
Okay. So there's this gentleman in Texas named Angel Rodriguez. He's a Hispanic American, right? Doesn't speak any English. All of his videos that he posts are in Spanish. But he was a diehard Trump supporter. Which, first off, that just, okay, whatever. After the election, his kids went next door to play with the neighbors, Trump supporters, white Trump supporters, and the father of the next door neighbor kids came out, pulled out a gun, shot it into the air, and told his kids, go back to your house, stay away from my kids, go back to your country, your kind doesn't belong here. And so now he's making all these videos crying, I don't understand, I was a Trump supporter, and da-da-da-da-da. Dude, you're getting what you voted for. This is exactly what you voted for. There was an African-American man on TikTok who was talking about him. He was doing a TikTok live, and 2 or 3 people came on that were like Trump supporters that were like, yeah, we're done with you. All we needed was your vote. You'll never be MAGA. You'll never be a part of the MAGA family. All we needed was your vote. Now that we have it, you're useless to us.
That sucks. But, Trump he made a lot of progress, inroads, this time with, God, just about every demographic across the board. But, yeah, really put up some numbers with, the Latino community. I feel like almost like both black and white men both voted for him in increasing numbers as compared to, 2020. And how much of that do you think truly is because Harris was a woman?
Oh, it's demographically proven. First time Trump ran, he ran against a woman, and he won. Second time Trump ran, he ran against a man, and he lost.
Yeah, lost.
This time he's running against a woman, and he won. America hates women so much that they are willing to vote for him rather than a woman who is trying to save them.
Now, what do you say to... Because I actually know people who have said this, and that, yes, men in general have been really shitty for the last few years, but I was told a couple of days ago that this person was like, well, yeah, they're more apolitical, they just don't even care about either side. More libertarian than anything, but they were like, well, once men have been called the bad guy, called evil, called disrespectful for so long, they just want to put on that hat and wear it for a while. And I'm like, I didn't.
I completely understood, like when it was going around, I completely understood why women were choosing the bear.
Yeah.
And we've proven it. The men who are upset, about the women choosing the bear are now the ones that are saying your body, my choice.
Yeah, it's the exact same.
It's the exact same people.
Exact same group.
And I'm just like that. No, I now you are the reason women choose the bear. I mean, truth be told, I would choose the bear.
Yeah.
At least I know what the bear is going to do. I don't have to worry about whether or not the bear is going to, murder me in my sleep or, what have you. But for women, it's worse. Women know what a bear is capable of and what a bear is going to do. There's no telling, what horror that a man could inflict upon a woman.
Yeah.
And, if you don't grasp that basic concept, if you do not grasp why women are choosing the bear, then you're a part of the problem.
Yeah, that's very true. Because you and I both understand it. And it's like when somebody posts an anti-men meme or post or statement or whatever, I've never once taken offense to it. Because she's not talking about me.
Exactly. There's, I think one of the things that I do is, where, I'll see a post where a woman's talking about, some guys made this horrible comment to her in the comments or whatever, and I'm just like, you know what? I would like to, on behalf of, on behalf of all of us that, I want to apologize for the male species. It may not mean much to you, but I apologize. That men are this way. I get people, you don't speak for all men. Yes, I do.
Yeah. It's like, I speak for the man, I don't speak for the assholes.
Yeah. The alpha males.
Yeah. God, that was a term we didn't need.
Yeah. And there's no such thing. Even in wolf packs, there's no such thing as an alpha. That's been scientifically proven that demographic does not exist.
I think we spent enough time
on politics.
At least the direct politics thing. We'll kind of segue into some more Marvel stuff. Talking about that same group was super pissed off about She-Hulk.
And about the Marvels.
About the Marvels. There's been some other stuff. But it seems like, I didn't hear a lot of hate or blowback on Wakanda Forever. Thank God. I didn't really hear anybody get angry that Shuri was the Black Panther. I think some people had a little bit of an issue with the actress herself. Because isn't she anti-vax or anti...
I don't know where she stands politically. I
can't look it up because we're using my phone to film.
But yeah, no. All the people who are getting butthurt over movies showing women, and that phrase that's come out too, the whole women in a strong and positive light in the movies. Oh, they're a Mary Sue, and I'm like, what? Just, the perfect example is everybody went off about Rey in the Star Wars people.
Yes.
Okay? Rey, how did she learn to use the Force so quickly? Blah, 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 blah. Did you not meet Luke Skywalker? Luke Skywalker had maybe 3 months of training.
Yeah.
And by the third movie, he was a Jedi Knight.
Well, they kind of explained that in The Last Jedi because, hell, wasn't she the cloned granddaughter of Darth Sidious?
She was the granddaughter of the clone.
Okay.
Yeah. She was she was Sidious's granddaughter.
Yeah. So that's got to count for something in the ways of the Force.
Sidious cloned himself, and then him and the clone and his mom and her mom, and then boom, Rey. But yeah, so she had the potential, but she really, the only thing she did in the first movie was be able to wield a lightsaber and fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, Luke was able to use the Force to blow up the Death Star in the first movie.
Yeah.
If you kind of look at it, she excelled in other things than what Luke excelled in, but pretty much their progression was the same. She, lightsaber duels and this, that, and the other, and I was just like, how can you? Okay, whatever.
Dude, what's kind of messed up, and here's the thing: I'm not a Star Wars hater. I don't like hating on their projects, even if I don't care for a project. I don't like getting on there bashing. I thoroughly enjoyed The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, and The Last Jedi. I each saw one time apiece in the theaters and haven't touched them since.
Well, the problem with the prequel trilogy or the sequel trilogy is that they went into it with one director who had a vision for all three movies, and then he got sacked, and then the second director came in and had a completely different vision, which is why that second movie feels completely disconnected from the rest of it.
And that was Abrams, right?
Yeah.
The original one. Yeah.
And then the third movie, I think, had a different director, or I think they brought Abrams back for the third movie, and he
by then the damage was done.
Yeah, by then the damage was done, and all he could do was try to patch it. I think the biggest, if I had to come up with my biggest flaw with that series is why on God's green earth did they bring Palpatine back? They could have kept with Snoke as being the big bad.
Yeah.
And left it alone, but no, they had to bring back Palpatine. Why? That was
Also, I want to. This is just completely pulling this out of nowhere, but you get that hate in The Last Jedi, where people love to talk about it, where the dude comes back and he's like, somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
Why is that hated so much? Because when I saw that in the theaters, that line of dialogue just, it went. And I was like, okay, like, why are we nitpicking that dialogue? Because to me, personally, I don't find it lazy writing. That's just him coming in and being like, I don't know what the fuck happened, man. Palpatine's back.
I think that's the thing. See, that's where I kind of sort of maybe will disagree with you. Like, I think it is lazy writing. They were like, we need a new big bad. Oh, we're going to bring Palpatine back. We're not going to explain how he came back. We're not going to put any backstory into it whatsoever. We're just going to say, bam, he's there. How?
I mean, how could they have done that, though, without just bogging the movie down with exposition?
This is true. And I think they're trying to tie into it with, like, The Mandalorian. Because I think they're trying to fix that with The Mandalorian because you've got all those cloning experiments that are going on in The Mandalorian.
Here's one. Do you think we will ever see episodes 7, 8, and 9 retconned?
So, only because I watched... that was the other one that people had issues with, Ahsoka.
I like that show.
Yeah, but the whole woman hate thing was
oh, no. What was the other one? The one that was more recent than Ahsoka that everybody hated. It was... because they were like Force witches. Like what? It was
The Acolyte.
Yes, The Acolyte, which I haven't even seen.
Oh, dude, if you liked Agatha all along, watch The Acolyte because it's effectively almost it's a group of witches. It's a group of witches, and there's a lot more Star Wars lore in it, but The Acolyte, in my personal opinion, has been the best Star Wars project that has come out in the past 5 years.
Holy crap. And you're putting that up against, like, Mandalorian.
Don't get me wrong, love The Mandalorian. I hate the fact that the Book of Boba Fett was Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah.
But The Acolyte really brings home... Okay, so I am a full-fledged, die-hard, the Jedi are not the good guys person.
After the prequel trilogy, you have to have that opinion.
They take children from their parents when they're young. They indoctrinate them into a religion. They tell them they can't be, have any emotional connection to anybody whatsoever. So basically, they're a bad relationship. They cut you off from everybody you love.
Yeah.
They tell you can't love anybody. You can't have any emotions or whatever. But and just even if you don't take the prequels into account, Obi-Wan was a lying bastard.
Yeah.
Darth Vader killed your father. No, Darth Vader is your father. You know, like
I don't know,
point
but
blank lie.
do you really like throw that at a 17-year-old?
Well, yeah,
You know?
there's that. But see, the thing of it is like he lied to Luke straight out of the gate.
Yeah.
Lied to Luke, and I fully believe that it was because between Ben and Yoda, their plan was to throw Luke under the bus to get Darth to turn back to Anakin because Anakin was the chosen one. Okay.
So they were playing the long
He
game
got
with that.
minimal training. You get like, oh, you've had just minimal training. Okay, but if you go up against Darth Vader, you're going to lose. And Luke goes, and what happens? He gets his hand cut off, and then comes back, and suddenly he's a Jedi Knight, and you know your father he is. Well, why'd you lie to me? Well, you'll find that many truths we cling to are only from a certain point of view. No, it's a fucking lie.
Was Obi-Wan a Republican?
You'll find that many truths we cling to are alternative facts, Luke.
I mean,
Oh
he did spend his last few years out in a rural area in the desert.
But the acolyte just brings that whole concept home of the Jedi are not necessarily the good guys.
Okay, now I do want to bring this. I know we're just like going all over the place now, but I'm having fun. Did the Jedi take children from their homes?
It is
because
heavily implied.
They gave Anakin a choice.
Yeah, they gave Anakin a choice because he was 9.
Oh, he was older.
Yeah, he was older. Remember, too old to begin the training he is. But like in like a lot of the like Ahsoka was pretty much taken from her family. Like there, if you go back and watch, there's some little mini episodes like Tales of the Jedi or something like that on Disney Plus. There's like these little 30-minute stories, and Ahsoka was taken from her family. She wasn't given a choice. They came, told the family, we're going to take her away and train her.
Crap, I don't even remember that.
Yeah. And that's the majority of how it works with the majority of Jedi is like, you know, they find out that there's this Force-sensitive baby out there, and they go to the family, and they're like, they convince the parents to let them take the baby. It's like, this baby is strong in the Force. We'll be able to train him to use his abilities, blah, 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 blah. They don't mention you'll never see them again. You know, they don't mention we're going to cut them off from you and everybody they've ever loved. You know, the fact that they may not ever come back to this planet again as long as they live. You don't know, but we're going to take the kid, and we'll train them, and we'll teach them, and you know, we're not going to mention the fact that we're indoctrinating them into this religion.
God, dude, I hate the Jedi now. I want to be a Sith Lord. There's been a bunch of news that's happened over the last 5 years that we haven't had a chance to talk about. But I want to stick with something a little more recent. Is what do you think about Robert Downey Jr. Doom?
Lazy casting.
You think so?
They missed such a big opportunity. Okay, they could have, because the original concept was that it was going to be Kang, and then all of that stuff happened with the actor who played Kang.
Yeah,
and they couldn't do anything about it. But you know what they could have done? They could have cast a variant, and they could have cast Don Cheadle as Kang.
Ooh, shit.
Because remember, he was the original Rhodey.
Yeah.
They could have cast Don Cheadle as Kang and just went with the Kang dynasty the way they were planning on doing.
Wait, no, Don Cheadle is War Machine. The other guy, Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard
was the original War Machine.
They could have cast Terrence Howard as Kang.
Yeah.
And just gone. But no, why are they making Tony Doom? They could have cast someone. Christopher Plummer. No, not Christopher Plummer. Crap, what's his name? I can't even remember his name, but he was in Inglourious Bastards. He was the main Nazi guy.
I don't know. I've never
Christoph Waltz, I think.
He
would have been a great Doom.
I think that whole deal with Terrence Howard would have been pretty neat. However, last I heard, he was not on good terms at all with Disney Marvel.
He's not.
So that wouldn't have been like super realistic.
Christoph Waltz would have made a better Doom, I think.
Okay.
I mean, think about how the villains he's played over the years. And how he plays them as if you're supposed to like them, but really you know they're the bad guys.
You know who I thought would have been a good Doom? God, I can't ever remember his name either. Young Magneto.
Yeah. But they're probably going to use him as Magneto.
Probably. That'd be nice, because I think he did a better Magneto than McAvoy did Professor X.
Agreed. Or, Arnold Vosloo would have made a good Doom.
You're naming off a bunch of
the
actors.
Mummy. The guy that played the Mummy in The Mummy. You never saw The Mummy? What the...
Hey, dude, I've been opening myself up to a lot of new films over the last year or so.
You need to watch The Mummy.
Are we talking about the Brendan Fraser one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not the Tom Cruise one. No. No. Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, Arnold Vosloo, God, I can't remember the guy that plays the Medici.
The Rock?
No, The Rock was in the second one.
The Mummy Returns, yeah.
Yeah. But Arnold, so once you see him, you'll probably see it. But Arnold Vosloo would have probably made a really good Doom. I mean, I get that they had to pivot. I get that. But are they saying that Doom is a variant of Tony? Are they, like, what are they doing? Like, how are they, you know... I hate the fact that they cast Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. As much as I love Pedro Pascal... I love Pedro Pascal as an actor, don't get me wrong. But I think John Krasinski... from Multiverse of Madness, they should have just carried him on over.
Maybe they will. We don't know what's going to happen after the Secret Wars and Doomsday.
This is true, but I mean we're going to get all kinds of just different stuff. I did like the three Peters showing up in the Spider-Man movie.
That was fantastic.
That was epic.
That was gold.
Is that coming out of you? Yeah, it's.
Now, what did you like better, No Way Home or Multiverse of Madness? I personally thought Multiverse of Madness was a little bit of a letdown.
Multiverse of Madness works now if you put it in with WandaVision and then as a sequel to WandaVision. Because that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. There's got to be like some kind of chart that's like, okay, we got WandaVision, and then that branches off into Multiverse of Madness, and also
Agatha All and then into Vision Quest.
Yeah, and then but like it's like, okay, Multiverse of Madness also goes into Agatha a little bit, and then it's like, you know, you've got all these bits and pieces that are intersecting here and varying off there. It almost looks like the multiverse thing. Like,
yep. Although, Loki season 2.
Loki season 2 was fantastic.
Oh God.
It's funny. We're just basically like reminiscing of all the stuff that we haven't talked about.
You've talked about a whole bunch of Marvel stuff.
Yep.
What do you think the best DC property to come out since COVID?
Before I answer that, I do want to say that putting James Gunn in charge of the DC universe is the best thing. I think that the way they did the previous incarnation with starting out with like Superman, Man of Steel, and then Batman vs. Superman, Wonder Woman, all those. I think that was a valiant effort, but I think they fumbled the ball so hard on that. My favorite DC property
that's come out since COVID.
I'd have to go with the Suicide Squad, the one that Gunn did.
I'm gonna have to go with Blue Beetle.
Never saw it.
Oh, dude.
Here's the thing, dude. I didn't see any of the Aquaman movies. I haven't seen any of the Wonder Woman movies.
The Wonder Woman movies are epic.
I never watched Justice League. The extent
You can be forgiven for that.
The extent of my DC stuff is the two Suicide Squad movies. I didn't watch Birds of Prey either. 2 Suicide Squad movies, Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman. Oh, and then I watched the first Shazam movie, and it was alright.
Yeah, it was okay. The second one was not that good. Black Adam was pretty good.
Oh, I saw Black Adam too.
Black Adam was pretty good, but Blue Beetle, out of all of those, Blue Beetle tops them all.
And nobody went and saw it because it was a lame duck movie.
Yeah,
like it was
a good movie.
Like everybody knew at that point. It was almost like when Dark Phoenix came out. It's like everybody knew that movie was gonna suck regardless.
But it didn't. Blue Beetle did not suck.
No. Not Blue Beetle.
Yeah, Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix was yet another horribly failed attempt at bringing out the Dark Phoenix saga in movies. There's no way to do that in a single movie. The Dark Phoenix.
I don't think there's a way to do it without doing it as an animated movie.
I think they could do it.
Oh God! And speaking of animated stuff, so I'm just going to go ahead and warn you now. If you get the chance to watch the Crisis on Infinite Earths 1, 2, and 3,
I've been thinking about it.
Beat yourself in the head with a 2x4. You'll enjoy it more. The Crisis on Infinite Earths graphic novel is one of the epitome of you must read DC stuff.
I've read most of it. I've just not finished it yet.
They split it into 3 movies, and it is the slowest, most dragging, dear sweet God, when is something going to happen besides exposition and talking comic book movie I've ever seen.
Would it have been better as 2 movies?
It'd have been better as 2 movies. Yeah, if they could have condensed it into 2 movies, but spreading it over 3 movies. Plus, they made a lot of changes. Which some make sense, some don't. But, like, I won't try to spoil it for you, but, like, the origin of the Harbinger in the movies, completely different from the origin in the comics. And makes no damn sense. So yeah, but don't watch that. Although I will say that a lot of the stuff that DC has come out with since they've gone to the this new artwork style that they've gone to has been really kind of cool.
I'm looking forward. It may have already come out, but the part 1 of the animated Watchmen.
See, that's where I'm afraid again, because like they're going to do it in parts, and they're going to stretch it out, and
it's going to be 2 parts.
It's going to be 2 parts.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, just right here, we've got a perfect Watchmen movie playing in the background here.
That's true. We have
one movie, so they're going to split it into 2 movies.
I personally, here's the thing: I'm a huge Watchmen fan.
Oh, I am too.
Hell, I've got the Watchmen soundtrack record with the smiley face like hanging up on the wall over there. I've got like every physical copy of Watchmen you could possibly own, and all the digitals too. But I personally don't think that the animated series was necessary. I love the movie. I love the graphic novel. They're both amazing in their own.
I don't think it's going to be good. Like so far here recently. So you're talking about James Gunn taking over DC. Just from what I've seen of Superman so far, it's too much. Okay, if you're going to be rebooting the universe, right, which is what they're doing, okay, why on God's green earth do you have to have Superman, Mr. Terrific, Green Lantern, although Nathan Fillion is Guy Gardner, I'm going to love, because I love everything Nathan Fillion does. They've got like 6 different heroes in this movie, but it's supposed to be a Superman movie. Why? Like, that was my problem with like the original Batman series of movies. Like, the first movie is great. Batman, with Michael Keaton, great. Second movie, why are there 2 bad guys? Third movie, why are there 2 bad guys? Like, make it.
And then the 4th movie, why are there like 14 bad guys?
Yeah, it's like, why, and so I think James Gunn is going the opposite of it. There's going to be like 15 good guys and only 1 bad guy. And it's Superman. Like, the guy that they've got playing him looks the part, but so help me God, they should have brought Tyler over. The guy that's playing him right now in Superman and Lois.
Oh, see, I haven't seen that either.
Dude, okay.
I've heard nothing but good things about Superman and Lois.
Here's my thing. Since Christopher Reeve has passed, we have not had a good Superman until Tyler.
You don't like Henry Cavill?
No. Okay, so let me bounce this around. Okay, you either get someone who can play a good Superman or a good Clark Kent, or neither. So Christopher Reeve was a good Superman, a good Clark Kent, right? Then we come to Brandon Routh, great Clark Kent, creepy peeping Tom serial killer Superman.
He was Smallville, right?
No, he was the one in Superman Returns.
See, I've never even watched that movie because
there's
I've heard
a
nothing but
scene
horrible
where he
things.
is like, so like since the basics of it is he went to Krypton, was gone for 5 years, and came back.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, I know.
And
And
when he gets back, Lois is married. So there's this scene where Superman is hovering above her house, watching the house with his X-ray vision. Creepy peeper Tom ex-boyfriend vibes, right? Then you get to Henry Cavill, pretty decent Superman.
Yeah.
Crappy Clark Kent.
Yeah, that was kind of off.
Okay.
He was more rugged.
Smallville, we never really saw him as Superman. So
Until like the last 2 frames.
So we never really saw him as Superman. But Tyler is a great Superman and a great Clark Kent. Because and my favorite scene in the entire thing is where they set it up. Like he's in the town that Supergirl is in, because they introduce him in season 2 of Supergirl. And there's these cops running away from there's these guys that are running away from a bank robbery. Supergirl lands in front of the car slams into her. They start to back up, they run into Superman, and they look at him and he goes, "I'm with her." And then so they get out and they start shooting at Superman and Supergirl, and of course the bullets are bouncing and everything, and then one of the guys runs up to Superman and punches him in the face, and Superman just grabs him by the front of his shirt and goes, "See, if the bullets don't work, why the punching?" And it's just that homespun kind of down to earth, not gritty. So, Superman should never be gritty.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what Man of Steel was.
Which was part of my issues with the Henry Cavill Supermans. Superman should never be gritty. Superman should be bright and hope. Right? That's what the symbol on his chest stands for in Kryptonian. It's the Kryptonian symbol of hope. And Tyler plays an amazing Clark Kent and an amazing Superman.
Has that always been the symbol of hope, or was that something that was just come up with in Man of Steel?
Actually introduced it in Smallville.
Okay. So it's what, about a 25-year-old thing?
It was originally introduced in Smallville.
God, before long, man, we're going to be on the 100th anniversary of Superman.
Yep.
Like, it's going to be a few years, but it's fast approaching. It'll be here before we know it.
Yep. I'm actually kind of happy talking DC news. So my favorite superhero role-playing game was the DC Heroes role-playing game. And there is now
tabletop.
Tabletop. And there is now a Kickstarter to get all of that material reprinted for the 40th anniversary.
Okay.
I am excited because that is to me the best superhero tabletop role-playing game ever. And I'm excited for him to bring it all back out. I mean, I already own all the second edition stuff. I'll probably buy copies of all the new second edition stuff, and we're hoping that it's going to lead to more new material.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, hopefully it will. You know, interestingly enough, you were talking about a Kickstarter. I've been getting ads like crazy for this Kickstarter that I'm very interested in, and they are doing a compendium hardcover book of Electronic Gaming Monthly.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be original content or reprinted content or like a mix of both, but it's like a big history of gaming by EGM. I think it's going to be like a 200 or 300 page book, big hardcover deal, and they've got like various levels of Kickstarter that you can do. I think it's like $40 is the minimum to get the hardcover.
Oh wow!
Which isn't bad, and they've already like head and shoulders above what they needed, already matched their goals and everything.
There's a Kickstarter to re-release the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles role-playing game too.
I didn't even know that there was one.
Oh God, it was pretty decent. So my introduction to role-playing games was through a company called Palladium Books. They had the Robotech role-playing game. First role-playing game I ever played. Really great role-playing game. And then they also had like this game called Heroes Unlimited, which was a generic superheroes game. But then they also did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game was completely and totally written with Eastman and Laird. And now they're doing a Kickstarter to re-release it with like some updated material and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that one.
It's kind of neat to see Eastman and Laird kind of like getting back together and
it is
doing some stuff, because I feel like we're really in like a Ninja Turtles renaissance right now. Like everything's kind of coming back. It's like that Mutant Mayhem movie. Like I enjoyed it. It was a very fun movie. The one that Seth Green. Well, no, not Seth Green. Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen, yeah. I haven't seen it yet. I'm still trying to get through the Nickelodeon series.
The Nickelodeon
series. The 2012's Nickelodeon series. I'm still trying to get through it because that's been a pretty decent series.
I've heard nothing but good things about that series, and I really want to watch it because I know they're. I don't want to spoil anything for you.
No, I mean it's been a really good series. I'm like in the 4th season right now, so
there's supposedly a multiverse.
Oh yeah, I've seen that episode. There's an episode where they meet the
1987 Turtles.
They meet the 1987 Turtles. They meet the comic book Turtles, who are all drawn in black and white.
See, I haven't seen any of the clips or anything, but I've heard about it. I heard about it like right when it happened.
Yeah.
There was a guy I used to work with, and his kid was really big into it. And of course, he loved it as a kid, so that was a thing. And he would come in and talk about the episodes like whenever it would come on.
Did you see Transformers 1?
Nope. Not a Transformers guy, man. I saw some of the live action movies, but they were okay, but I never cared for the cartoon. I never cared for the comics. I never cared for the action figures. I'm not a Transformers guy. Like, I'm not a fan of Transformers at all.
Okay.
I have heard from everybody that's seen the movie that Transformers 1 is a really solid film.
It is. It's really solid. It's better than anything Michael Bay put out.
I will say I saw the trailer when we went and saw like maybe Beetlejuice or something, but it just didn't do anything for me. It didn't look like it captured the part of Transformers that I enjoy, which is like it looked more like a cartoon.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it was, but there was just something about it, because even like the first couple of Transformers movie, that one, what was it, like Dark of the Moon or something?
Yeah, Dark Side of the Moon.
Like that movie, the trailers, I didn't care for Transformers, but the trailers got me pumped. This trailer did nothing for me. I was just like, why are they making this? That was my thought.
I think my only, if I had to have one complaint about Transformers 1, is it was too campy. Because like the original cartoon series was not all that campy. It was kind of a serious tone to it. Yeah, there were funny moments, but
about like a Thundercats.
Yeah, this movie leans really heavy into some campiness to it, but it's still a really solid movie. Personally, I hated all the Michael Bay movies, specifically like the first one where like you're watching the movie and for all the Transformers, since they were all CGI, looked alike. You couldn't tell, like during the battle scenes, you couldn't tell who was who.
They just had different colors.
There's this one scene where Megatron rips somebody in half, and you're like, "Who the fuck was that?" And then later on, they walk up and they're like, "Jazz is dead." I'm like, "Oh, that's who Megatron ripped in half." Okay. I'm like, the only person you know who he is, the only two that you know who they are Optimus because he's red and Bumblebee because he's yellow. Everybody else just looks like a generic pile of CGI crap.
That's true. I can totally agree with you on that, actually, because I saw those. That was like the first Transformers movie when my son was like super, super young. That was like one of his go-to movies. So I watched that first Transformers movie, I bet 50 times.
So, and then the other thing is, and a friend of mine named Christian, we pretty much said that six monkeys with a six-pack could have written a better Transformers movie than what they did. And to me, I think they need to, whoever's in charge of Transformers now needs to go back and reboot the entire franchise, with the first movie being the history of the war on Cybertron. Like, there's a book series.
I would watch that.
Yeah. So the history of the war of Cybertron, the first movie ends with the Ark crashing on Earth, right? And then the second movie is the war continuing on Earth until they get a distress signal from Cybertron. And then they go back to Cybertron, and like the very end of the second movie hints at Unicron. And then the third movie is the battle against Unicron. I think that would be a perfect Transformers trilogy.
I mean, it probably would be. They need something like that, because a lot of the stuff's only been hinted at.
Yeah. Well, they've gone through in the comics, they've gone through so many different owners over the years that, like, there's 5 or 6 different histories for Transformers now. Like, there's the Gen 1, so there's the Gen 1 cartoon history, there's the Gen 1 comic history, which is different from the cartoon, then there's the Dreamwave history, the IDW history, and now there's the Michael Bay movies history, and now there's the Transformers 1 history.
But I'm assuming they all have some
common themes. Like, Primus is still the god of the Transformers, and there were 13... Well, the 13 Primes weren't introduced until the Michael Bay movies. No, maybe Dreamwave. I can't remember where they came in, but, like, there were 13 Primes, which were the first 13 Transformers. But, like in the cartoon series, the Quintessons were who built the Transformers as a slave kind of a thing, and then they got their independence and yada yada blah blah blah. So every version of the history is different.
I feel like I need to read some of those comics.
Yeah, I would definitely get into the Marvel series if you wanted to.
Those are all on like Marvel Unlimited now, aren't they? Because
I think so.
God, Marvel Unlimited has a massive library now because they own everything.
Pretty much.
Like, if it's not DC, Dark Horse, or Image, like, Marvel owns it at this point.
But yeah,
I want to talk about some events.
Sure.
Where I don't want to make the video go too long, because we've been going for a minute.
Yeah, we've been going for about an hour now.
Okay, cool. So we had Chattanooga Comic-Con a couple weeks ago. We've got Chattanooga coming up in February
21st to the 23rd.
And dude, that's not going to be long at all. Like, next thing you know, Christmas is going to be over. It's going to be the new year, and we're gearing up for Chattanooga. So anything you want to talk about as far as Chattanooga? I'll talk about Chattanooga Comic-Con here in a minute.
So, once again, I'm in charge of the sci-fi and fantasy track for Chattanooga, and I was lucky to be able to land. There's this TikTok creator named Flicker Spark who does this great series called Death and Martha, where it's Death and Death's secretary / office manager Martha. And I was actually able to land them as a guest for Chattanooga. So
sweet.
So they are going to be the guest judge for the Star Wars versus Star Trek debate. They're taking part in a couple of other panels. There's going to be a meet and greet, and then there's going to be a panel about the lore of Death and Martha. But they are extremely excited to come because it also happens the weekend of their birthday. So they're really excited about that. Of course, we're going to dig into, and probably something you and I might want to talk about. I've got just the general sci-fi, love and lore. We're going to talk about Lord of the Rings. We're going to talk about Star Trek. We're going to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Friend of mine named September, they're going to be doing a panel about the women of Star Wars. That's going to be a pretty decent panel, I think. Of course, as always, the Star Wars versus Star Trek debate. I'm going to be hosting a panel about all the different iterations of Godzilla. Ooh. Because with Godzilla -1 having come out just recently, I'm just on this Godzilla hype train. And
I have been too.
Kind of comparing it to the legendary stuff, and then the old Toho stuff, and even the TriStar Godzilla, the one with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. I bought that movie because I went to the theaters and saw it when it first came out. To I think it was like 14-year-old me. That was pretty solid. But I got it on Vudu a few weeks ago and sat down and made it about 20 minutes in, and was like, "Nah, I can't."
It's a pretty solid standing if you can separate it from all of the other Toho, specifically the Toho
tried,
stuff. And because there's so much lore with Godzilla, especially in the Toho, and then like they're kind of sort of bringing a lot of that lore back in the Legendary verse. I haven't seen, I haven't had the pleasure of being able to see the TV series they did. The
the Netflix one?
No, it wasn't Netflix. It was it
Monarch?
Monarch, yeah, it was Apple TV.
Yeah, I've seen
that's the only streaming service I don't have. So I haven't had a chance to see that yet, but I want to watch it.
I loved the Legendary stuff, but now that I have gotten into a lot of the Japanese-made material, Legendary pales by comparison.
-1 was just beautiful.
I like -1, but to this day, my favorite Godzilla movie is Shin Godzilla.
Okay, I can see that.
Hands down, it's my favorite.
So my thing for Godzilla -1 is just like all of the Easter eggs that you can find in it. Like, and the best one is like the very opening scene takes place on the same island that the opening scene of the original Godzilla takes place on. So it's it's like they're like, okay, we're like. You can almost tell that the guy who wrote -1 was watching some old school Toho Godzilla.
Oh yeah, he's
while
very.
He was writing it,
Yeah, he's very respectful to the lore and whatnot.
So and then of course we've got all of our other stuff. We're gonna have Saber Idol at Connuga as well. Our general lightsaber combat thing, where basically you'll get the opportunity to come up on stage. You can either bring your own lightsaber or we'll supply you one. We will give you a random 30-second bit of music, and you've got to, on the spot, come up with a lightsaber kata. And you'll be judged based on your entertainment value and how good you look and, just all kinds of different stuff. We've got the cosplay contest, of course, which has a cash prize. I mean, we've taken over the entire convention center now. And so we're excited. We're really excited to get that and just be continuing on for what will be when you count in COVID, it's our 14th year.
I know, like I'm really looking forward to Connuga. I've not been to one since before COVID. But yeah, it's going to be pretty solid. We went to Chattanooga Comic-Con a couple of weeks ago. Had a fantastic time. You were there for a little bit.
Yeah, I was promoting the booth. And went shopping and spent more money than I should have spent.
They had like a pretty nice deal set up, and we were going around getting some interviews and whatnot. It was funny because I don't know if I want to name the actor or not, but you know who I'm talking about. Okay, yeah, but without naming anybody, we went up to this one person and was like, one of the major guests, and was like, "Hey, you think we could get like an interview?" Da 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 da. And once they saw that we didn't have like a big audio video set up and big cameras and lights and all this, and we were just like a smaller, podcasting video page. And once this individual saw that, they were like, "Oh no, well, y'all get with me when we're a little more, a little less busy." And there was like one person in line behind us, and because literally a 90-second interview, and I've been telling everybody like that's one of those deals where like obviously it's not the con's fault.
It's that guest.
The guests, and I'm not knocking anybody who doesn't want to do any type of interviews or anything, because the lady who plays Rosita on The Walking Dead, she wouldn't do an interview, but that's because she doesn't do media. Like, she just doesn't do interviews.
Right.
And that's respectable.
But what you're talking about, though, and the part of the story that you left out that you told me about is they saw, that you were just a channel that had a cell phone as a camera, and then, apparently this other group came up who had, like, more
the works,
who had a more quote unquote professional setup, and this specific celebrity did an interview with them after having brushed you off.
Well, it had the interview with the more professional looking outfit had already happened.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
That guy just walked up to shake hands and say, "Hey, thank you for doing the interview." And I was like, "What the?" And like we had just asked him, and he was like, "No." But yeah, that's one of those things I've been telling everybody. I was like, you got to be careful when you do stuff like this. Like, sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes, because this was an individual who is in some stuff that I really, really, really like, and I would have been able to do a hell of an interview. But they just didn't want anything to do with us because we didn't have the look.
Yep.
And that pisses me off to some extreme. Because, I mean, you've seen some of the work that I do. It's not like I get on there and just fumble around and do shitty interviews. We have, especially when I'm into the person.
Your Crash Test Dummies interviews have been some of your best stuff.
Oh, yeah, the Crash Test Dummies stuff, like, I still get people pop in on those videos saying, "This is the best interview I've ever seen." And I'm like, that's because when you're passionate about what you're doing, like, I went into that with like a 5-point like bullet list of stuff I wanted to cover, and the rest of it was just natural. It's easy when you thoroughly enjoy what that person has done,
right? And
you develop a knowledge of it after a while and everything. But I have noticed, and this has been a long-term trend with celebrities in general, especially celebrities who were hot during like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and haven't had that mainstream success since. When they go to cons like this, it's like not everybody, I've met some really awesome people who are genuinely happy to meet their fans. But there are a lot of celebrities out there who are selling prints from these old 70s, 80s, 90s TV shows. They're making all their money. They're there because of those projects. But by God, they don't want to talk about them. They just don't want to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, once you meet enough people at these cons, enough celebrities, you quickly point out the ones who just aren't gonna, don't want to be there.
I had you watched the Battlestar Galactica remake, right?
Nope.
You didn't?
I've never seen a single minute of any Battlestar Galactica.
I had, so last year, no, it was the year before last. So I work at a hotel downtown, and this lady and this guy walk in, and I greet everybody. "Hi, how you doing?" And she was like, "I'm doing pretty good. We're looking for the bar." I was like, "Oh, you're looking for the bar? It's right that way." And I was like, "By the way, has anyone ever told you look like Trisha Helfer?" And she goes, "That's because I am." And for those that don't know, Trisha is the person who played Cylon number 6 in Battlestar Galactica. It takes a lot to make me speechless, but for me to look at someone and go, "Has anyone ever told you that you look like X celebrity?" And for them to come back and look at me and go, "That's because I am," like, I literally could not talk. like I was like, just kind of pointed to the bar, and then when she came back out, I was like, "I am so sorry I went completely dumb on you a minute ago. Just like, you're the first person that has ever been like, yeah, that's because that's who I am." And she's like, "You'd be surprised how many people don't recognize me." And I'm like, "Oh no, you're fairly recognizable." I was like, "I didn't think you were that tall," but she's tall. So that was fun. I like it when I run into random celebrities in like out in the open. Like, unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to meet Kevin Smith when he came to town.
I hope to meet him one day.
But I did meet him once at Dragon Con.
Okay.
And he wasn't there officially, he was just there. And I'm standing in the Marriott looking down into this sea of people, and this guy walks up beside me, and we're just standing there, and I kind of look over at him, and I look back, and I'm like, "Hey, wait," and he goes, "Shh, shh, shh. Don't even say my name." He goes, "I don't want anybody to know I'm here." Because he had shaved, like, he was clean shaven. He was like, "Don't say anything."
Oh, wow.
He was like, I'm incognito, and I'm like, "Okay, but you're," and he goes, Don't say nothing.
Holy crap! No, Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is somebody who's been through some shit over the last few years.
Oh yeah.
He has quit smoking weed.
Well, kind of when you have open heart surgery, you kind of reevaluate.
No.
Your life.
He was smoking weed even after that, dude.
Oh.
But he, you didn't see that people.com video that he made. It actually came out the week before Guardians 3 came out. Because I found it on YouTube as we were getting ready to go to the premiere.
Huh.
And he had some kind of repressed memory about being like molested by an older kid in like a group setting, and was suffering like major depression, suicidal thoughts, like the whole 9 yards. And spent like several weeks in a rehab facility, like just getting his mental health back in order. And he quit weed after that, and like he'll post on social media, but he doesn't engage in the comments anymore. He made a lot of life changes mentally, not
right,
because he was already vegan and everything. And he made a lot of life changes for his mental well-being, and as far as I know, they're working out now. Because he just put out the 4:30 movie like a week or two ago.
Yeah, and he just got the rights back to Dogma.
I've heard they're still... Kevin Smith he's worse than I am about announcing projects, and then 2 years later, you've never heard of him again. But he's wanting to do that Twilight of the Mallrats.
Oh God, that would be great.
Like, he's wanting to do that. Like, he came out just a couple weeks ago and said something about how it was going to be a Shannon Doherty memorial film, basically. There's just a lot of... God, man, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on. We right now are in like a nerd golden age. Because if somebody would have told you back in like 93, like, hey, we're going to have... And they just handed you like a pop culture magazine from 2024 and showed you all the crap that we have at this point. Like, would you have even believed it?
Oh, no. Good God, no.
Because at that point...
A Marvel Cinematic Universe? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I when they announced the X-Men movie, I almost crapped my pants. And I wasn't expecting anything that cool either.
Yeah. Oh, golly. X-Men 97.
One of the best cartoons to ever be put to film.
Yep.
Or digital, or whatever you want to call it. And I love the fact that they finally kind of sort of gave us a kick-ass Cyclops. Yes.
Instead of just
that whole deal where he jumps out of the Blackbird and uses his blast to just slow down.
Yep. Or like in the very first episode where he uses the blast to shoot somebody plus push himself back out of harm's way. Because a lot of people don't know that his optic beams are blasts of force. They're not heat. They're not energy. They're force beams. So yeah, him jumping out of the plane and using it to slow himself down, like just Rogue throwing Trask off the building.
Look, this I've got a lot to say about X-Men 97, but I want to get like the top story out of the way.
Okay.
In the span of 30 minutes of footage, they had Jubilee turn 18, and then she immediately had sex. With Sunspot. Roberto.
I missed that because I didn't catch the sex part because like her 18th birthday was spent in the Mojoverse.
Yep, and then they were sitting around at the very end of the episode in her bedroom, and I'm pretty sure the door was closed, and they started kissing, and then they laid down on the bed, and the episode ended. They very much implied.
They very implied it. Okay.
They heavily implied it. Like, I knew what was going... Like, hey, I've been around a little while. I knew what was going on.
They also kind of sort of showed Jubilee as a badass in that show, too. Like the whole... Just... The choices that they made with some of the characters and the whole 9 yards, and like that Gambit taking on the Tri-Sentinel.
That's pretty solid.
That was solid as hell. I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do with season 2.
Look, they did, yeah, because we know some crazy stuff's coming up. But when they killed Gambit, Rogue's reaction at the end of the episode was
dude, ripped your heart out.
It was rough. Like, no music, no nothing.
Yeah,
you're just hearing her cry.
I can't feel you.
Yeah.
Or I mean, even some of the stuff with Storm was kind of sort of heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Like that whole battle that she had to get the flower to heal Forge, and then she came out in the black costume, which is like, oh.
That was sad seeing her when she first lost her powers, though.
Oh yeah.
When that first happened, she was like, I can't feel the breeze.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh,
like, I didn't think it would hit me that hard. And I was like, oh, no.
I think they rushed the Goblin Queen storyline a little bit.
She was... The whole Goblin Queen thing, like, that's my afterthought.
Yeah.
In X-Men 97. I barely even remember she was there after all the other crap happened.
The Inferno storyline was one of the coolest storylines from the comic book series.
It was amazing. I don't know if they could do it justice properly.
But then again, I'm a Havoc fanboy, and Havoc played very heavily into that storyline.
Yeah, he was like her bitch the whole time.
Pretty much. But, I mean, like, Havoc is... to me, if there's one X-Men character that's the most underrated X-Men character, it's Havoc.
Oh yeah, he's always played second fiddle.
And they've pointed it out several times. My favorite pointing out of it was during Executioner's song. Strife has Jean and Cyclops and Cable trapped on the moon, and he's got them under a force field that only someone with their genetic template can get through.
Yeah.
And that's how he got Cable in there, because it was supposed to be him and Cable's showdown, because he's a clone of Cable. And so he's sitting there and he's doing the monologuing thing, and from off panel, he gets blasted, and he goes, I forgot about Alex. And it pans over to Alex, and he's standing there, and his uniform's torn all the crap, and he's like, yeah, they all do.
Now that you're saying that, we did a review on Comic Book Malarkey about Executioner's Song years ago, probably 2017, 2018. I'm gonna have to go back and see if you brought that same thing.
Because that is one of my all-time favorite Havoc moments of just him just going, yeah, they all do.
So before we wrap the video, let's look at the future.
Okay.
And some of it's probably going to be a few things that we've already talked about. But what do we have to look forward to over the next, I don't know, from now to our 10-year anniversary in May?
Till May.
We've got, I know, the week...
Brave New World.
Yep, Brave New World.
Come out before then. Conugo will be before then.
Yep. Well, actually, Amber and I are going to FrankenCon in May. I think that's either going to be the weekend after. Yeah, FrankenCon is like the horror convention. One of our local friends, Corey, him and a few other people have put that together. They're actually going to have Rhonda Shear.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I really want to do an interview with her.
Aren't we supposed to be getting Stranger Things season 5 sometime between now and then?
Are they even filming it yet?
No, they've already started. I think they've wrapped it.
I'm very curious to know when that's coming out, because we haven't gotten so much as a trailer or any.
We've gotten episode titles. Stranger Things premieres in Stranger Things 5 premieres in 2025.
Well, look, we're gonna
in 2025.
We are gonna be pop cultured out. Like, it's gonna be to the point where I'm gonna have to say no to some stuff. But for real, because I know we've got some more Walking Dead coming out that I probably won't watch. We've got the Stranger Things. We've got
there's a teaser for season 5.
Isn't Fantastic Four coming out towards the end of next year?
I think so.
November or something like that. I think we've got 3, maybe 4 Marvel movies. 3, maybe 4 Marvel TV shows. I'm fairly certain that in 2025, the
July 25th is Fantastic Four.
When is the Superman movie in James Gunn's DC Universe coming out? What's it called? Isn't it called like Superman
Legacy.
Legacy? Yeah, I think that's a horrible name.
July 11th.
Next year?
Yep.
Okay. I was hoping it wasn't 2026.
And then they're doing a Supergirl movie in 2026.
Are they really?
Yep. With a weird casting for Supergirl, too. Although I think I'm going to enjoy Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor.
Who's Nicholas Hoult?
The guy that plays the Beast in the X-Men First Class and...
Oh!
Yeah. But...
Wow!
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see him as Lex Luthor.
Okay. I'm sitting there thinking about that now. I was like, dang, he's gonna have... Who was it that played him in Batman vs. Superman?
What's his name? Jesse Eisenberg.
Okay, so Jesse, it's going to be kind of like that, but a lot less quirky.
I think Nicholas Hoult is a much better actor than Jesse Eisenberg.
Never seen him bald, though. That's going to be a hard difference from the Beast.
Oh, yeah. Go from having all the hair to none of the hair.
That's great. So, yeah, we've got Connuga. Do they have any guests lined up yet or anything for Connuga?
We've got a lot of cosplay guests lined up. Again, Connuga is more of a content thing.
Yeah.
If we do manage to land guests, it's kind of sort of a last minute, the year that we had Chandler Riggs, that was a very last minute thing that we found out about 2 weeks before the con.
Yeah.
Because he just was going to be in town and wanted to do it, and that was amazing. But we've got like I said, we've got Flicker Spark coming in. We've got a couple of cosplay guests coming in. We've got...
Oh, I'll go ahead and say Connuga has some of the best, probably the best panel programming of any con I've ever been to.
As a person who's in charge of programming the panels,
Yeah.
in charge of at least programming one track of panels.
Well, it's you just have such a massive, Olympic-sized swimming pool of content that you can pick from.
Well, there's a reason for that. One of the things that we do is for each track that's there, so you've got sci-fi, fantasy, anime, comics, video games, all the different tracks that we have, you have to have a minimum of 20 hours of programming per track.
Yeah.
A minimum. That is the bare minimum, 20 hours. Sci-fi fantasy this year has 24. But that's just me bragging on myself.
Well, you remember, you were part of that panel, and we'll probably wrap on this, but you were part of that panel where we did the Game of Thrones panel, and we had the Cersei and Tywin cosplayers that were celebrating their wedding. They've been together for I can't remember how many years.
They've been back every year since then too.
No joke?
Yep, they've come back every year.
Oh, crap.
They're usually running around. I think we haven't really touched on Game of Thrones, but since the House Targaryen stuff has been coming out, we might touch on it again this year. I don't know. There's been some things that I've found have gotten a lot of popularity and kind of have not. For example, I have a friend of mine who passed away recently, but he was a diehard Babylon 5 fan. I've never been able to get into it.
Yeah.
So I actually did a panel one year that was Babylon 5 is overrated, changed my mind. And the description was, I can't get into Babylon 5. I need people who are fans of the show to come to this panel to give me why they love the show so that I might get inspired to watch it. No one showed up. Not one single person showed up. And I sat in that room for 30 minutes waiting for them to show up. Not one person. So I'm like, well, I'm never going to watch this show ever. But
that's horrible, man.
I can only speak to the sci-fi and fantasy track because that's the one that I know that I'm dead on in charge of. But just to kind of sort of give you an idea of what we've got. Oh, good grief. It's all... So there's a Star Trek panel. There's the Flicker Spark meet and greet. Women in Star Wars. There's going to be a Star Trek Voyager, just a very specific Star Trek Voyager panel.
Okay.
We've got some Harry Potter trivia, economics and science fiction, a Lord of the Rings panel, steampunk, how superstitions and things play into religion and science fiction.
Ooh, that'd be nice. I'd be interested in attending that one.
Of course, the Star Wars versus Star Trek debate. What's that one about? The mythology of Star Wars and everything that surrounded it.
Hey, really quick about the Star Wars and Star Trek debate. Do y'all have winners every year?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if
so. The way the debate works is I will pull 3 people out. Like, I've got a friend of mine named Paul that lives in Arizona. Him and I come up with 10 questions, and we're not talking about who could beat up who. You know, these are questions that are in depth, thought out. Like, for example, both of your series have shown women in a strong and positive light. Tell me how your series has done it better.
Woo!
You know, or here
I
recently,
feel like Star Trek wins on that one a lot of times.
And again, it depends on what side of the fence you're on. There's usually one who could beat up who question, just to kind of sort of get that out there. But then we kind of play around with that. Like, one of them one year was C3P or R2D2 and Data sit down to play 3-dimensional chess. Who wins? Just different things. So what I'll do is I typically start with people who've never participated in the panel before, because I do have people who come back a lot. So I need people who are Star Trek fans who have never participated in this panel before, who want to defend the Star Trek side. I pull 3 people from the Star Trek side, 3 people from the Star Wars side. Each of them gets a chance to answer 2 questions, and then the last question is kind of like a team question. My judge judges them based on how they answered the question the way it was asked. So if you start to answer the question and you get way off topic,
or sidestep,
yeah, or if you don't answer the question at all, you don't get points for it. And then whichever team wins gets prizes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I'd probably want to sit in on at some point.
You should come.
I'm just like, God almighty. Because, see, I don't think we're doing a table. We're not doing programming.
Saturday from 2 to 4.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing anything that weekend besides walking around with business cards and just saying, hey, check us out. So, because, we've discovered that we have a lot more fun at cons when we're not tethered to a table all weekend.
Right.
We can still do what we need to do. Because, we're not doing giveaways or anything. Because what I noticed is a lot of the giveaways we did pretty much never resulted in a build-up of interaction, or people will like something all day long, and then the minute they get away from your table, stuff like that. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun, man. It really has, because we've had a lot of crap to catch up on, and we probably went close to the 2-hour mark. But
something like that, about an hour and 47 minutes.
But I mean, is there anything specific you want to throw out there, or anything before we?
My birthday's Friday.
I was actually going to make a big thing of that, at the beginning of the video, because your birthday's Friday,
yep.
And mine is 2 weeks from yesterday. So
that makes you a Sagittarius, so we don't care. No.
Oh yeah, we were born on opposite sides of the Sagittarius or
Scorpio Sagittarius.
Yeah, the Scorpio Vegetarius line.
My son is a Sagittarius, though, so his birthday is 8 days after mine. His is the 23rd.
Okay, so his is right before mine, the day before. That's kind of crazy.
Make sure it's easy to remember.
God almighty. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else we got going on. I know we're going to hit up the local Christmas parade that's happening, I think, the weekend of my birthday. I've been getting out and doing so much. That's why we're getting together for the first time in 5 years. Is because for the first time since COVID, I'm actually in a point where I want to go to cons. I want to go to concerts. I want to see people. And I'm actually off work on Saturdays and Sundays now. And so it's this has opened up my personal life, my social life more than anything. And I think people that are watching me on the channel are going to see a hell of a lot of positive change as a result.
There you go.
So, really looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, definitely, obviously, we're going to get back together and do this again sometime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know how often you want to do this. But we'll work that off camera.
Yeah, like this isn't even like an official episode of anything. This is just like Lonnie and Mark reunion. First time since COVID.
The malarkey catch up.
Yeah. It's probably like the one time we actually will discuss politics, because I'm not really big in doing that like on the videos.
But it had to be said.
Yeah, it had to be said. There was no way that we were going to sit down and do this and not talk about the bullshit that's going on in Washington right now. So, because believe it or not, that affects every one of us. We have a wide range of audience that both watches our YouTube, is part of our Facebook page. We have people in like the non-hetero community. We have people of all different races, all different genders, all different shapes, sizes, colors.
Because we're inclusive.
Because we are very inclusive. And there are a lot of policy changes and things like that are being talked about in Washington and online right now, that if those things are passed or if this certain thing is made illegal, it's going to directly affect, I know, me. Because, you know, it seems like we're trying to take us back to like the 1920s at this point, or to some less extent the 50s.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's like the whole "Make America Great Again" thing. Wait, okay, when was America great? Please tell me.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I mean, just for example, like everybody who follows the page knows that like I'm non-monogamous, and if Christian ideology takes over the government, me being able to date more than one person at a time is going to just completely go down the toilet.
No, it's not.
Oh, it can. If people, I'm saying, because, you know, I've actually had people that were like, hey, how is somebody going to enforce that? Like, let's say they make it illegal. How is somebody going to enforce that?
That goes back to the ever popular quote. In Illinois, it used to be illegal to use contraceptives. How do you police whether or not someone's wearing a condom?
Well, I have an answer for my specific situation.
You know.
See, I'm a big fan of being able to live life as you enjoy and to be able to be open with that life.
Right.
And there's a difference between just, because, you know, I don't bring it up a whole lot, but I like to be able to talk about it in conversation, post pictures online and stuff like that. And all it would take is for some random asshole who hasn't been laid in 5 years to see me with two partners at a concert in a post online and then turn me into the police.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to, I just think...
I don't think you're going to see a lot of local enforcement. I think you will in patches of places all across the country.
Yeah.
Because, you know, some, you know...
You'll see it a lot in the red states.
Yes, a lot of good old boy sheriffs have nothing better to do.
There's already a whole bunch of governors in blue states who are like, we are taking steps to make sure that the policies that Trump has promised will not affect our state.
Yeah, California called a special session.
Yep. So. California so far, I think there's been 2 others. But like, yeah, Gavin Newsom was like out the gate going, nah, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're watching this movie and you think you know what a tariff is, I'm going to ask you to do some research. Because here's the best way I can give it to you. And I'm going to give you some math lessons real quick, okay? So a company has a product that they buy for $75 and they sell it to us for $100, right? They get a $25 or $25 profit, okay? So then... No, let me take that a step back. They buy it for $100, they sell it for $125. Okay? 25% markup. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have Trump come in with his 60% tariff, which means they now have to pay $160 for that product. Do you think they're going to keep that same 25% markup? And even if they do, that means that we're going to wind up paying 16 times 200 and some change for that same product that we were paying 125 for.
Oh yeah, the cost.
That's how tariffs works. The company and everybody's like, well, we start making stuff in America. Okay, fine. you still have to, like, if you're building a car in America, you still have to import parts from other countries.
Yeah.
You know, you still have to import, you know, if he gets rid of the CHIPS Act, then we're going to have to start buying all the microchips that are controlling cars from overseas again, as opposed to where they were making them here in America.
And then there's going to be tariffs on that.
Educate yourself on some math, people.
Well, we've already... This is specifically how it will affect us.
Yep.
Is we did a post just yesterday or the day before that game consoles, PC parts, everything skyrocketing.
Yep.
Could be... There's people saying you might be paying $1,000 for a PlayStation by next year.
Oh, good grief! I feel sorry for all the people who are Apple users.
Woo!
Woo! You think you're paying $1,000 for an iPhone now? Just wait.
Yeah, you're looking at $1,500 or easy.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, if not that. I mean, you know,
you're gonna have some stuff. Well, prices of everything's gonna go up. It's gonna be interesting to see that. How it plays out, but anyway, I think we're done with politics, probably
right.
With the video in general. So, but yeah, we're definitely going to get together and do this some more. It'll be nice to try to at least maybe do this on like a monthly basis or something.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, because you know I don't want to just overdo it and just pile on the content like we're the MC freaking you. It's like like we're the MCU in 2023. We're gonna have something out every single week and make you watch a movie every third month.
Yeah.
And not just a movie, like a 3-hour movie.
3-hour, good God.
But anyway, I'm Lonnie.
I'm Mark.
And we're Untitled Nerd Network. This has been the Lonnie and Mark reunion show. Come back next month for the Lonnie and Mark holiday special.
The holiday special. As long as we're not celebrating Life Day, and as long as we do not sing Jingle Bells in Wookiee.
We're doing it all.
No.
Yeah, like you show up at the door and I'm just standing there dressed in full Wookiee.
I'm leaving.
All right, we'll see
Y'all
you
have
next
a good
time.
one.